it's blatantly obvious, I have absolutely no routine and no consistency when it comes to making these videos, and that needs to change on my part. We're here to talk about Week 6 spreads for the NFL, and I've not made one of these videos in 2 weeks. So, that needs to change, and I take full responsibility for that. In fairness, I was traveling both weeks, but it's no excuse. Let's jump right in. Denver at New England. New England's a 9-point favorite. Yeah, there's really not much to discuss here. I anticipate, let's say the Patriots win by 13 or 14 points. Also, Denver will be without their number one running back because Melvin Gordon got a DUI last night, and I don't think it's because of the DUI that he has to receive a suspension, but it's because he broke protocol or whatever their COVID guidelines are. So it had something to do with that, and he won't be playing. Chicago at Carolina. Carolina is a 2.5-point favorite. That's gonna be a better game than people expect. I know Chicago's record is very much a false dawn. So is Carolina's to an extent, but now that'll be a good game, and I'll say Chicago wins. I might throw some money on Chicago money line. I like that pick. Detroit at Jacksonville. Detroit's a 3.5-point favorite. I see Detroit. Detroit's gonna get off the. They're gonna get off the schneid. Jacksonville. They look worse and worse every single week they go out there. They won week 1, haven't won since. But they at least look competitive in week 2, and then ever since week 3, it's just been straight in the gutter. And Detroit's bad, but they're not that bad. Atlanta at Minnesota. Minnesota's a 3.5-point favorite. Now, this is in Atlanta without Dan Quinn. He got fired earlier in the week, remember? I don't think that'll matter. Minnesota's hungry. Minnesota's another one of those teams. Mike Zimmer's coaching for his life right now. If they don't beat Atlanta, I would not be surprised if at least the Wolf family starts to consider maybe letting go of Mike Zimmer. But I think they'll get the job done. Let's say they win by 6 points. Houston at Tennessee. Tennessee's a 5.5-point favorite. Now, I did not realize that Tennessee is 4-0, and Tennessee looks pretty good. Granted, they haven't, they have all these COVID outbreak, and they couldn't play against the Steelers week 4, but they look pretty good. That being said, it's a new Texans team, no Bill O'Brien, and this seems like one of those games. This just seems like one of those games. Tennessee's not going to blow them out. I promise you, Tennessee will not blow them out. If anything, I actually see Houston covering. I still think Tennessee's going to win, but I'll say Tennessee wins by 3 or 4 points, but they'll cover the 5.5-point spread. Next up, we got the Washington football team. Still can't believe they're called that. Taking on the New York Giants. The Giants are 3-point favorites. I'm going to go with Washington in this one. Why not? Listen, both New York teams, they're absolute dumpster fires. The best New York football team was the New York Guardians of the XFL. No Saquon, and the rest of their team just looks like a joke. So, and granted, I know Washington's not much better, and I don't know who's going to start for Washington. It looks like it's going to be Alex Smith, but Washington's got a better defense. I think they got more playmakers on offense. I'll take Washington in this game. I think Washington they'll win by a touchdown. Cleveland at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's 3.5-point favorites. That could be game of the week. That could really be game of the week. Browns are 4-1. Steelers are 4-0. That's good. That's a really good game, and that's a fair line. That's a very fair line. I think the Steelers' defense is not necessarily going to bully them to victory, but the Browns they just don't look. And yes, it's a very captain obvious thing to say that against a better defense, the Browns their offense isn't as good or doesn't perform as well. But it's just so drastic. When you see the Browns play a terrible defense, they'll light them up. But when you see the Browns play like a halfway decent defense, they're just not as sharp. And because of that, I'll say the Steelers cover. I think the Steelers win by 6 or 7 points. But again, I would not be surprised because the Browns have impressed me all year. The Browns have really they've taken steps. I like Kevin Stefanski a lot. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if Cleveland wins, but in my gut, I'll say Pittsburgh wins by 7. Baltimore at Philadelphia. Baltimore's 8-point favorites. Phillies, they're 8-point underdogs at home. Yeah, but that rightfully so. Listen, Baltimore, people need to stop sleeping on Baltimore's defense. Everyone's talking about Lamar Jackson and how great he is. I think their defense is really going to lead them this year. And Philly can't get it to click. I'll say Baltimore wins by 17, and maybe Doug Peterson gets fired. Maybe. Cincinnati at Indianapolis. Indianapolis is they're 8-point favorites. I'll take Cincinnati in that game. I know Cincinnati looked terrible against the Ravens, and I know the Colts have somewhat of a decent defense, but I don't see the Colts winning by more than one possession. I think they win, but I don't think they cover. Yeah, I'll take the Colts by 6 in that game. Jets at Dolphins. Dolphins are 8-point favorites. Yeah. I mean, that line should be so much higher, but at the same time, this just seems like one of those games that the Jets would win just to ruin their tank. But no, I'll say Miami wins by 13. The Jets, they're not necessarily getting blown out every week, but they just look terrible. And Miami's improved. And listen, Ryan Fitzpatrick, I think he could piece that defense. This is not the week that they should start Tua. I know that's starting to kind of go around the rumor mill, but I mean Fitzpatrick won last week, and also Greg Williams is notorious. He was the leader of the Bounty Gate, and if you saw what they did week 4, week 3 in the Thursday night game against the Broncos, they kept hitting Ripien even like after the game, like the game was pretty much over, like 2 minutes left, like they're down by 15 or whatever, and they're still rushing Ripien. This is not the week to start Tua if you're Brian Flores. So I expect them to stick with Fitzmagic, and Fitzmagic will probably lead them to 2-possession victory. Sorry, you can move this. Oops. Sorry. We're on a budget here. Packers at Buccaneers. Packers are 2-point favorites. I think Green Bay keeps it rolling. Green Bay looks really good. And don't get me wrong, Tampa Bay, they look halfway decent, but the games they've looked halfway decent against are against, I'd say, inferior competition. I think the Packers are the cream of the crop in the NFL right now, so I expect them to keep the ball rolling. Rams at 49ers. Rams are 3.5-point favorites. Now, after what we saw last week with San Francisco, I have no faith in them whatsoever. But they're at home, playing a rival. They're going to play tough. I don't know if they win, but for some reason in my mind, I'm thinking this game's going to be within 3 points. You know what? I'll call the upset. I think the Niners get back on track. I think they get a win this week. Let's say they win by 3 points. Chiefs at Bills. I believe this is the Sunday night game, and the Chiefs are 3-point favorites. I'll hammer Kansas City in that line. I'm not calling Buffalo frauds under any circumstances. I mean, they started the season 4-0 for a reason, but there's not enough there. I haven't seen enough from Josh Allen, despite the fact he's had a great year. Haven't really seen enough from him. I thought their defense would be better than they are, and I expect Kansas City just to piece them. I say Kansas City wins by 10. And finally, the Monday night game, Arizona at Dallas. Arizona's 2.5-point favorites. I think Arizona embarrasses them. The Cowboys have so many issues that people aren't aware of, and I think I say Arizona wins by 17. I expect it to be a blowout. So those are all the games. Also this weekend we got Korean Zombie versus Brian Ortega. That's on Saturday, and I'll make a video for that. So I'll see you guys soon.